Hello. We're just fiddling with the phone. Ha! We're finally live, and actually, this was a completely new one. This was Facebook. It says your event host will go live soon. I am the event host. Where's the start live video? But it wasn't there. I had to restart my phone, had to restart Facebook, and Pete says we're all okay. And it's really hard because if you get these mics going first, they turn off if they're not used. You do the test on a video. Anyway, that's our technical issues for the day. I hope that's the end of it. So I hope you all had a lovely Easter. Pete and I did. It was great to get in the garden and in the public spaces and meet up with friends and family. Absolutely lovely. Went up to Trentham Gardens actually on a glorious day, and it was absolutely beautiful up there, and the spring flowers are just sort of starting, daffodils were out, and it was beautiful. It was a reminder, I'd never been to the quilt show at Trentham Gardens, and look, you see what happens if you don't take advantage of opportunities. So there's a life lesson. Anyway, I wanted to say, yeah, happy Easter to everybody. But also, of course, the big news yesterday, very sad news about the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip. And, the Queen must be absolutely devastated. Gosh, to be with somebody that length of time and then to lose them, it's pretty tragic. But the point of my blog post this week was really kind of that influence that he had was absolutely amazing. And I wanted to use it to sort of segue nicely into some of the things that we think, kind of are important when it comes to quilting, Prince Philip to quilting. I can do it. The thing about Prince Philip was, of course, he did the Duke of Edinburgh Award Scheme, and I was lucky enough at my school, we started doing it, and the four of us started to do it back in about 78. And I was doing my bronze. And it was a really fantastic scheme. It made you sort of go, okay, well, I won't just try this. I'll actually try it. And somebody has to sort of check out that I've been doing it. And, you've got an ambition and a goal, which, is good, particularly if you haven't had that. And maybe for a lot of the people who were doing the Duke of Edinburgh Award Scheme over the last 50 odd years, some of them were definitely in that category that they'd never had anybody sort of monitor their progress. And it's very easy to ditch things, isn't it? You sort of get a great idea, I'm going to do all this, and I'm going to get all the kit, and then you don't complete it. So I did my bronze, and it was really good. And so I went on to university, and we didn't do the silver at university, but there was a Duke of Edinburgh Award Society. I joined that in my first week in Freshers Week. And it was a great bunch of people who wanted to get out and mostly do walking, actually. And then all the rest of the stuff you did in your own time. But the focus was very much the expeditions. And in that period of time of my 3 years at Manchester University, I became treasurer of the group and also expedition leader. So I did my own expedition in the first year, the gold expedition, which was fantastic, in the snow, in Snowdonia, in March, and it was absolutely freezing. And oh my goodness, it was so hard, 50 miles with your pack and your tent, and they weren't the light tents now. Anyway, did all of that, and then managed to be the expedition leader for 4 other people who then went to achieve their gold award. So that was kind of my thing was maybe, I have to confess, I never completed it. I never went and got my gold award, okay. And maybe that's about not being a completer finisher. But I thought about that in reflecting on the Duke of Edinburgh. And I thought, actually, what I ended up preferring to do was to show other people how to do it. And it didn't matter that I hadn't got the award. Actually, better than that, 4 people that I trained up then got their own gold awards. So I kind of liken that to what we do here, is that, I'm not an award-winning quilter. I've never even entered a quilt show. But I love the fact that people come, we do the classes with them, they get their inspiration, and we teach them how to do quilting, and then they go out into that big wide world of quilting and achieve the most amazing things. So, I'm just a facilitator to that process. So that's what the Duke of Edinburgh did for me, was enable you to be able to enjoy your quilting, because through the Duke of Edinburgh Award Scheme, I then went on to do lots of other things, and then I got into the quilting world. And I think the teaching side has always stayed with me. And I hope that when we restart the classes, which is going to be happening imminently, but we are going to wait another week because we think that Easter is that kind of critical time when people started to mix, and we don't want to open too early, so we're planning it for the summer when it's not too hot. So we're sort of targeting the June time. I'm going to tell you it's going to be in June, if we can, and we'll let you all know about it on the newsletter, of course. So we are going to be absolutely bowled over to be opening up, and we are opening up just for Showroom, just for people to come in. And any comments yet, Pete? Because I'm just yabbering away.
Lots of comments, lots of people on here. We've got Carol in Spain who's joining us.
Oh, great!
Have you finished putting your Moxie together yet, Carol?
I hope you have. Yeah, I know you've got a busy life at the moment.
And I'm informed that it's Margaret Howland's birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday, Margaret! We love Margaret and Sue, and they've joined us on lots of classes over the years. But also we've seen them over in Houston. Well, I have. And Margaret, they live down in Sussex, and they're absolutely super twins. Not twins. They're sisters, and they have an Avante, which they love. So,
we've got Jenny Crossland's with us this morning. Morning, Jenny. I've just emailed you this morning.
Yeah, Pete's just emailing you. Look out for Pete's email.
That's on the subject, incidentally, of a second user machine that's become available. We haven't actually listed it for sale yet, because if you let us know that you may be interested in a second user machine, we can tell you about it before it goes. Yeah. Before we have to do all the work of putting it on the website. So
quite. And they go quickly.
Di Bell did bronze.
Oh, you did bronze?
And she met him on 2 occasions.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, because you've done a lot of other stuff, haven't you, Di?
Once in Hong Kong.
Wow.
And he opened the Prince Philip Dental Hospital, and again in Bristol.
Fantastic. Well done, Di.
Mixing in royal circles.
Yeah, we love it.
And we've got our Esperance friend with us this morning.
Oh, hi, Kathy.
Kathy
and Esperance.
So Carol's nearly got Carol in Spain has nearly got a Moxie together. Good.
Oh, good, Carol. Listen, when you've got it all together and you have any problems, just let us know if you need any help. That's it, is it? And say hi to everybody else. Well, I'll keep talking away. So I was sort of talking about that whole inspiration and things as well, because having a structure, having somewhere a target to reach is always a good thing, isn't it? But we've seen those people who've started off on their Longarm journey and have gone to dizzy heights. Best in world, Linda Jackson. Linda's potential was really obvious, quite honestly. Within 6 months, I thought, wow. And but someone who, when she started, was a bit intimidated, Annalise Littlefair, who's won the whole cloth award at Houston in 2019. So these are people who are just like our new quilters. You don't know where it may take you. That the happy chances that happen. I mean, because I'd done my gold expedition and did lots and lots of walking, I saw a thing for Operation Rally. I ended up doing Operation Rally, and because I did Operation Rally, I ended up becoming a scuba diving instructor and ended up in the Caribbean. So, Duke of Edinburgh, Caribbean, you never know where you might go. Your quilting world is opening up to you. Anybody who's recently got a Longarm will suddenly be aware. We've got our virtual classroom for those people who've had their machine, haven't come on a foundation workshop. You should have received an invitation to that. And that's a great way for us to kind of show you some of the things that we'll be teaching on the foundation workshop. If you take that Facebook group, if you follow all of those videos, it means that when you come on the foundation workshop, you can probably go to what we're going to call the Foundation Plus. Okay, Foundation Plus will be a slightly level on from Foundation. There's an incentive for you to start your Longarm journey. There's catch-up videos, or you can watch them live. Abigail and I will be doing one on Tuesday for you virtual classroom people, and it'll be on loading the quilt. Now, as for today, thank you very much to everybody who's joined us. Thanks to Kathy in Esperance and everybody from wherever you might be. What we're going to focus on today is horizontal spool pin. I wanted to talk about the horizontal spool pin because last Tuesday's session with our virtual Facebook group, we talked about thread, TNT, thread needle tension. And one of the things that we talked about was, how do you deal with thread like King Tut that's on a smaller spool? How do you deal with Coates and Clark and all these other ones, Madeiras and Superior Threads Glitter is here. These are all more fragile threads that I would want to not put on the vertical cone thread holder. So I have a cone thread holder off an Amara, and I've taken that off to show you this horizontal spool pin. It's an accessory and it fits on all of the... Are you making me slightly more straight?
No, I'm just getting a bit more of the table in.
Oh, okay.
Chopping off a bit of your head.
That's fine. Not a problem.
And Laurie Tigner's joined us. Morning, Laurie.
Ah, Laurie! Hi, Laurie.
Early morning for you, Laurie.
Absolutely. I hope there's no snow where you are at the moment. You have late snows, don't you? It's been cold here. Think of you when it goes cold and when it's drizzly and stuff, and how when you arrived, Laurie taught with us back in 2017, and when Laurie arrived and it was really, really miserly sort of weather, I said, oh, I'm sorry it's not sunny. She said, oh, I love it, because you'd had 2 years of drought or something in Dakota. Okay, so it's brilliant to have all these international people, and it's been lovely to hear from Hilda van Schaardenberg as well, another Handy Quilter ambassador in the past, and we've got some lovely visitors. So I'm going to talk to you today about the horizontal spool pin. The horizontal spool pin is a really useful accessory that you can get. Fits all the machines, and by the way, Pete, I don't know whether you knew this, I just looked at this, as it says, compatible with all Handy Quilter machines. And we put it on our Moxie, and I've now just looked at the instructions that shows you how to install it, but we worked it out. It's exactly what we thought.
If all else fails, read the instructions.
Yeah, that's right. We can work it out. We don't need instructions. However, you might need the instructions. There are instructions. What we like to do, therefore, is by using the horizontal spool pin, it enables us to use these more fragile threads. On the Amara, we can put it, we don't have to have the pin's already there on our Amara, and we can put this horizontal spool pin at a slight angle. It has a thumb screw thing here that we can loosen this and tighten it and get it so that it's slightly angled upwards so our spool doesn't fall off. And that enables us to then put on whatever threads we like. Take this one, Alcazar, it's a Coates thread, and we'd have it coming off. I prefer to have it coming off the underside, but on the Moxie I've done it on the top, and I'll show you why in a minute. That one would normally come off, and then if it's a fragile thread, we tend to have fragile threads just going through one of your tension holes on the pre-tensioner. And the reason for that is that things like metallics, if you bend them too much, that exposes the inner core. They're mostly wrapped around like a nylon or a rayon, not a rayon core, a nylon or a polyester core. So that depends on the brand of thread you've got, but all metallics have that wound around structure, and what you don't want to do by going through two, you can therefore cause it to bend and stretch. The core is exposed, and that's when it's more susceptible to breakage as a result. Ooh, good juggle. Right, so this is the sliver. This is another one that you can use on the horizontal spool pin. And glitter, Superior Threads glitter, this is a lovely one, etc. Now the other reason for using horizontal spool pins is it enables us to use more threads through one needle, which back in November last year I did show on a Facebook Live, but I thought we've got people on here now that we didn't know then, so why don't we just do that little session again, because lots of people haven't ever tried it, and I thought it would be good to try. So I'm just going to show you some examples first. Let's have a little bit of coffee.
So we have so many Gold Award winners amongst our viewers.
Well done. That doesn't surprise me.
No, it doesn't surprise me either. No. Both Sue and Margaret are Gold Edinburgh Award winners,
done, guys.
And various other people as well. It's very difficult to see on the link phone here, but yes, there are quite a few.
Oh, I love it.
And somebody, sorry, I've forgotten who it is, said that they did a lot of their work on quilting on their Duke of Edinburgh Award.
That's great. You see, you could pick. I think there were 5 sections. This is like a long time memory, isn't it? But there were like 5 sections, and there was community service. I worked at a hospice. I took the tea and cake round to the people in the hospice, which was fantastic. Actually, I have to say that was a really, really good experience. Lovely to do that. So I'm delighted that so many of our customers and those people who are into quilting, it doesn't surprise me at all, because I think those people are the ones who kind of like quilting does fit really well for lots of reasons. Okay, so I'm just going to show you, actually that's not the right sample, it's this one. This one is the sample this is a class I did with Debbie Brown, Handy Quilter Educator, and this shows you, using the horizontal spool pin, I did the Gone Sailing, which is a blend of 3 threads, I'll hold it still, 3 threads through 1 needle. And so I had, you can't do this on the Moxie, but you can do it on all the others. The FAF Power Quilter, which is made by Handy Quilter, even has 4 spool holders, cone holders, and you can use the horizontal spool pin as well. You can have 5 threads. I've never tried 5. The Gone Sailing then, 3 threads through 1 needle, blended, all cotton in this case, but I have tried a little mix. I've got a mix over on the Capri, I'm going to show you, and some I did earlier, my little Blue Peter one here, which is still sort of, this is my 2020-2021 transition quilt. It's just playing really with, I was playing with the felting foot. But the 2020, which is oranges and yellows, I did that with 3 threads. Which ones? They're mostly cotty. This green one is a mix of Orifel wool, which is I think acrylic and wool, and a cotty 30-weight 2-ply cotton. So you see, you can really be creative and play with these things. Of course, the back, you're not going to be so worried about burying that mix of the top and the bottom thread in between the quilt layers, because it's really hard to do that. And quite honestly, what happens is, as you go over the sections you've already stitched, you quite often punch through some of those. Debbie Brown, great selection, great solution to that issue is the Gone Sailing. You cannot see it on the back. Is that clear, Pete? Yeah. And the reason is that when you start, you can use just a single layer of fabric, single layer of wadding. When you've done your really heavy duty thread painting or whatever you're doing, another layer of wadding and your backing, and then that completes it. Then you can do the rest of your more fine quilting. So there you go. Pete's saying, nope, nothing more to say there, nothing more to say there. Now, before we get on to, right, I probably need you to move around with me now, Pete, actually. If you could do that, that'd be great.
Where are you going?
I'm going, first of all, I wanted to mention this. So just a longer view of Moxies. We've got 2, I'm going to get off my stool. We've got 2 Moxies here. This one is now on a Littlefoot. So we've got a track conversion so that it can take the Moxie carriage. It goes so that you can take it as a 4-wheel carriage. Normally, this would be an 8-wheel carriage on the Littlefoot frame. This means that we can use the Moxie on a Littlefoot frame, and that means you can put it into a smaller space. Whereas the one that we've been demoing on since we got the Moxie is on an 8-foot frame. And what I've done this week is, because someone was interested in seeing how it would work with the hammock, I've rigged up the hammock here, and it shows that it will fit quite nicely actually on an 8-foot frame. But it is a question of putting some cable ties. And what I was thinking, Pete, was that I know we haven't got many hammocks in stock, but we'll be ordering some. I've used a cable tie just to hold that together, because we don't have the parts that enable you to sort of plug it into the side of the frame. But this is great if you've got cats, because quite honestly, this becomes a natural hammock for the cat. And before you know it, your quilt's a bit either destroyed or got cat fur all over it. The other thing that they love to do is play in the wadding. And if the wadding is on the floor, then that's a bit of a problem. Whereas at least if it's up here, they're going to have Some cats would have no trouble at all getting into that hammock, would they? But others might be less tempted. So it's a good way of keeping it off the floor.
You make it sound as if the hammock is there to accommodate cats. That's not really the purpose.
You know, way back when we only did hand quilting frames at the Cotton Patch, a lady who received a Hinterberg quilt frame, she sent me a photo. There were 3 cats lying very casually on the hammock, which was, that reminds me, Pete, of that story. The story about the cat. Can I just tell that story really quickly?
I don't know which story it is, so I'm not going to give any advice. It's
one about the estate agent. So this guy, Pete showed me this, it's really funny. It's on Facebook, and there's this guy, and he sees his neighbours put his house up for sale. So he thinks, oh, well, I'm going to have a look and see, you know, how much it's on the market, as you do, how much it's on the market for, and all that. So he goes on the estate agent's website, and there's a picture of like one of the spare rooms, and there's a bed there, and the cat, you know, there's a cat on the bed looking very relaxed. And the neighbour looks at it and goes, these are the details of my neighbour's house, and that's my cat. I think actually he used an expletive. That's my cat. And the cat, honestly, could not have looked more at home. So very, very funny. Right, this is the Moxie.
Yeah,
then.
So back to the hammock. So the hammock is there to stop your wadding from draping on the floor. Somebody's asking, can they float the quilt and still use the hammock?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Because this is really more for the wadding. I mean, my wadding is, I'm at the end of the piece that I was working on here, whereas actually normally you'd have quite a lot of wadding just sitting in that hammock. So yeah, definitely, that's what you want to do. So the difference between these 2 machines is I've got the horizontal spool pin on this one, and I've got a regular cone on that one. So the horizontal spool pin here has been, I've replaced the chromed
thread
pin.
mast.
The chromed cone.
Thread holder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've replaced that with the horizontal spool pin one and put it so that the rayon thread that I've got on here is dispensed over the top. You might sometimes want to do it underneath. Then it goes through one of the holes here, because this is rayon. It's not a structural thread. Rayon is made of natural fibres, natural plant fibres, quite short staples. It goes through my tension discs, and note that, you know, anytime I can just prise that apart, make sure it's all there. And this is my rayon. Oh, just use that. So that means that I can use any of my thread collection that is horizontally wound and not cross wound. And just to confirm that difference, what we've got is horizontal wound. You'll see it's just straight. It's straight. It's what you get on many, many spools, particularly smaller ones. And the idea is that you dispense it straight. Whereas this, for example, this is glide. This is a cross wound, so you'll see the shape of it and the shine on there you can see very easily, and therefore it's designed to be taken vertically like this. So if you've got in your thread collection lots of small spools you want to use perhaps for, you know, adding different colours, and you don't particularly want to get any new threads, you want to use up some in your collection, this is a great opportunity. Get a horizontal spool pin, put it on the back of your Moxie, or like I showed on the Amara, or on any of the others, it goes onto a pin on the front, which I've got on the Capri, just over here.
So, Lindy, thank you for answering that question from Sue. Sue's asking why doesn't the spool come off the end of the spool pin? It's because,
it's not like
as
that.
Lindy says, that's adjustable. So if we push it upwards, it won't come off. There we are.
Yeah, and if you do have one that is that dispenses slightly irregularly and it jumps around, all I've done, very, very simple solution, just get a piece of card, put a little hole in it, and just put it on the very end of the horizontal spool pin. It means that the spool can't jump off it, because I have had spools that have done that. Even when I've slightly angled it, they've gone kind of mad, you know, being dispensed. Depends how fast you go, actually. Right, so if we go this way, I think that's everything I wanted to say about the hammock and the Moxie. What I thought I'd spend the last part of the session with you is to talk about, now this is the Capri, and I've got my extra table. So the Capri normal table is this big, about 1 metre square. So, you know, it fits in lots and lots of rooms. And we've put the extension table on here. The extension table, it goes down and up. I'm not quite the right angle here. Let me just move that back. So it goes down when you don't want to use it, and then just locks in place when you do. And
so
the
that
capri,
can extend your quilting space, and you can fit that on one or either side or both sides of your table.
Yeah. And the thing about the capri is that it's in what's called the insight table. So revealing the insight table here, this section here is replaceable. So we've got the insight table here, obviously for the capri, but there's also one. You can upgrade a Sweet 16 to an insight table. It has these two magic eyes. These measure how fast the material is being moved, and that helps to regulate the stitch. So we can either have it in manual, we can have it in regulated mode, we can have it in precision regulated or cruise regulated. And we can also, we don't have to use the foot pedal, we can actually press play on the screen and it'll stitch. Let me just tell you a little bit more about what the setup is here then. So this is very much like Sweet 16, Avante, Simply 16, that we've got two pins at the back for the cones that we would normally have running at the back there. We can put two cones at the back and have them coming through one needle. We can have 3 threads by having 2 and adding on the horizontal spool pin. Now I've put a more fragile thread here, which is the wool. It isn't horizontally wound, but I just wanted to show that you can put the smaller spools at the front here if you wish. I've not seen a problem with that. You might get a twist in the thread. I haven't, but I've never really had a problem with it, so you just have to try. Once I've got that loaded, I then feed through both threads through. I actually put it through all 3 so that they get mixed together. And then in the conventional way of threading up, absolutely same as normal, I've got a big needle. The needle I've got in here, it's the Grace Beckett 120/19, so it's a pretty thick needle. There is another size bigger than this, but I'm just going to use these 2 threads just to show you. And obviously you've got to put both threads through the needle. If you've got 3, you just do exactly the same. And when you're testing your tension, you just do the same as you would normally. You're just going to pull on that and adjust this as you require. And I did some test stitching, and this was my first attempt. I've got that pale pink and green, and it just blended like this, but on the back it was poking through. Now what does that mean? That means that in that battle between the bobbin tension and the top tension, that the top tension is too loose. The bobbin is winning that battle, so I needed to tighten the top tension. Obviously I'd loosened it off because I kind of thought, well, I've got 2 threads going through there, I better loosen it a bit, but I went too far. So I did a bit of testing. Next one I did, I tightened it up a fair amount. It's still coming through a little bit. Maybe I could tighten it a bit more, but in the same way that I had with my Gone Sailing, I don't really worry too much about that. I'm just going to tighten it a bit and let's see what happens. So let's just do another little bit of this. So to start, normal way of starting on the sit downs, the capri or the sweet, I'm going to use the needle down and needle up, bring that bobbin thread up. Now this bobbin thread is actually quite thick. I just pulled out a black one that I'd got, so it's quite a thick bobbin thread. Do some securing stitches. So on this capri, that means just touching this needle up, needle down a few times, and it'll just sew slowly. You're listening at that point to make sure that it sounds okay, because quite honestly, at that point, you can rectify any issues before you've sewn any further. And often, if there is going to be an issue, you'll know about it then. I'm just going to trim that a little bit because I'm going to use my paddles. Now, a few weeks ago, we featured the paddles and the sweet spots. There's 2 of those, and I'm going to use the paddles for this. And I'm just going to do some little ribbon candy. Slightly bigger. Let's just stop there. I'm going to stop with the needle down next time. Let's just see. Okay, it's still a few little pokies coming through, but it is 2 thick threads, so I don't know that I'm going to be able to get much better than that. Let's just try another half turn. Stop again. Okay, yeah, it's resolved it a little bit, but this isn't very thick. It's not very thick wadding, so it's just an 80-20. If I was using 2 layers, I might be able to hide that a little bit more, but I'm not really worried about it. Okay, I'm just going to do another half turn so that you can see if it does improve on it. So that final bit there, yeah, it's just gone down to a dot. Obviously, I've got very strong contrasting thread here.
That looks good.
So I'm pretty happy with that. I don't think I could get much better without having double wadding. So there we go. That's stitch regulation on the capri, insight table, 2 threads using the horizontal spool pin. One of them's wool and the other is cotty, which is a 30 weight 2-ply you get from the cotton patch, which I have tons of. So that's why I use that.
And I see you're using 9 stitches per inch in this case.
I was. Yeah, really good question, because actually, or really good point, because obviously, I mean, normally you want to use something that's appropriate for the thread. And if you use too small a stitch, you're going to find it doesn't form a pretty stitch. It doesn't look good, doesn't look right. But I love that ortho wool. It's really cool. So that's a really nice one to use. Now, if I wanted to use a 3rd thread, then I could blend a 3rd one. I would just pull this up from this cone here, put it under that as before, and just add it to my 2 threads. So we've got a special offer this week on the horizontal spool pin, which we'll be putting up straight after this, which is a 20% discount.
Now, the discount is not yet online, so just wait until that's done,
yes,
which we will do immediately after the end of the Facebook Live session.
Yeah, it'll be from 12. I can do this. I'm going to have to come the other side of you. I didn't want it's much more difficult from there. Okay. So that goes like that and like that.
On the subject of threads generally, we've had a very big order of glide threads in this week, so we're fully stocked with glide again. It's still proving difficult to get some supplies in from the States, but fortunately our large glide order has arrived. Everything's in stock, including all of our collections.
Yes. Yeah, Pete had the lovely job putting all of that away. So idea is here is I'm just going to try and just get this to come through all of these 3 threads at the same time. Actually, I'm going to unthread that just to show you how best to do this.
So this is now quite a thick bundle of threads.
It is.
Liz, would you consider making that an even larger stitch?
Yeah, I would, actually. I would. And the other thing is that, I mean, you might want to do 3 threads for sort of thread painting and to really make, you know, really interesting picture with your threads. So it doesn't have to be about, you know, a quilting stitch. You might put it in manual mode and literally just fill areas. And if that's the case, you can put it on manual mode and we just select how many stitches per minute. And you do it at a speed that is going to be appropriate for the speed that you want to work at. So you might find you have more control in manual mode. You wouldn't need the insight table in that respect. I mean, you can do this on a Sweet 16, obviously. Now, first of all, I'm going to give it a go, going through with all 3, but that's pretty slim chance. And I'm just going to twist those together. Otherwise, you do have to do one at a time or use a needle threader.
With 3 threads, you might be better off with the size 21 needle, which is the largest available.
Yeah.
If you can't squeeze that through the 19.
That's 2 out of 3. And the third one is... Just going to remove my glasses. Oh, I brought it out.
So, Sue, yes, we've ordered more lights from Handy Quilter, but that's on the Handy Quilter order, which hasn't arrived yet. So there will be some more coming in. And Claire's asked, when will we get more stencils in as we sold out so quickly?
Oh, that was on my to say list.
We still do have some in stock, Claire, but yes, we've sold a lot of them. We were overwhelmed with orders for the stencils.
They were. They were
another
very
order
good.
is just about to go in, and they come from California, I think.
California. Yeah.
The shipping was reasonably quick on those last time, so hopefully they will be back in a couple of weeks, and we will feature them again.
I'm wishing I'd used a bigger needle, or got my needle threader.
Dangers of live broadcasting, Liz.
And when your eyesight is such, you have to look like you're completely blind in order to thread it. Nearly that.
The other point about stencils is Cindy Needham. Have you mentioned that, Liz?
No, I haven't. I haven't mentioned Cindy. But the good news is we've got a shipment. I think it's sort of gone on the slow boat from California. But Cindy Needham stencils, we love Cindy's work with her stencils, and her PDFs that come when you buy the stencils are really good, very, very useful education on how to create like whole cloth designs, etc. And Cindy's got a new one, well, relatively new to us. So we'll be featuring those as soon as they come in. We are just waiting for the delivery.
Yes, well, they've actually been stuck in UK customs for 3 weeks now, so we're just waiting for them to be released.
Yeah.
They're just overwhelmed, I think, with post-Brexit processing of orders.
Yeah.
So hopefully the Cindy stock will arrive next week. Claire, the feathers stencils on the full line stencil range were the ones that went soonest, and they certainly were the most popular. I can see that that's what you're interested in too, so we will certainly be getting lots more of those in.
Okay, so I've threaded up the 3 threads, and now obviously I just need to test it. So I'm going to do that, bring up my bobbin thread, and I'm going to change it to the 8 stitches and listen to my machine. Okay, sounds okay. And now I'm ready to go. So I'll do a bit more. Oh, no,
That sounded a bit lumpy.
Yeah,
one of the threads is broken.
One of the threads is broken.
Probably because your needle's too small.
Yeah. So that was a 19. I have actually always used a bigger one, but I thought I'd give it a go on a live Facebook. Why not? Live life on the edge. But that finest thread there, that cotty, has just broken. So you just have to rethread that, test it out again. And maybe it was just a question of it not coming through or just getting caught on the needle itself. So definitely, the point of doing these is not to do it perfectly every time, because you're not going to be able to do it perfectly every time. I never do. And one of the things to remember is, what to think about, well, why? So something like this, 3 threads with a 12 weight wool, as well as 2 cotties in it. Yeah, you're probably going to need something bigger, like a 20 or 21 needle. So, you do that. But that's how you thread it up. I don't know whether it's worth testing that again. I think you can all see how to do it. And it's the process as much as anything. I did wonder, to think about whether people would like to do a class like this, where we go through some of these techniques. I think it's a really useful exercise. It gives you so much more confidence in using threads. If you can use difficult stuff, this is what we do on the foundation workshops. We push you in the nicest possible way. Abigail and I push you to use threads that you wouldn't normally use, or that you might have bought because they look lush at the quilt show, and they're still sitting looking lush in your drawer, and you haven't used them yet, and we want you to use them. So something like this would be a really good class. So that's Cindy, the full line stencils. Horizontal spool pin will be discounted by 20% this week only till next Friday. We've got the Moxie that we can demonstrate on the little foot frame. The showroom is open on Monday. Yay! We're open. We've got demonstrations lined up this week and next, right through. I think we've got demonstrations every week now for the next 3 weeks or something. So we're going to be busy here, and we look forward to seeing you if you'd like to come along for a demo. If you've not seen our machines, if you've not got hot hands-on, and you'd like to test it out, just let us know, give us a call, send us an email.
So Annette is saying that she'd love to have a class on this.
Okay, good.
Claire is asking if she wanted to buy a capri, is it worth waiting to visit Festival of Quilts?
Well, festival is due to go ahead. But who knows? Who knows? I genuinely think that if you want a really good hands-on experience, the better experience is to come here at the showroom. We can spend as long as you like. We can talk stuff. We can show you all the accessories. Much, much harder to give you the same quality of experience at the Festival of Quilts that we can here.
Yeah, and Claire, really the point you're making is, will there be a better discount on the capri if you go to Festival of Quilts?
No.
Yeah, we price our machines the same the whole year round. All we do is sell long arm machines. Okay, we sell a bit of thread and things around the edges of that, but our business is about selling machines. If we discounted everything at Festival of Quilts, it means we would sell nothing in January to July,
That's right.
which doesn't really work as a business model. So we price our things as well as we can all year round.
Yeah.
Sometimes we might put some accessories into a bundle, but we do that throughout the year anyway. So the quick answer is no.
Exactly. There's no benefit to waiting.
Do we have to book to come into the showroom? Yes, you do. We want to give you the best possible experience of just trying the machines out without too many people here.
That's right.
And also for social distancing reasons, it's best. Certainly you do need to book in, please.
Yes. And sometimes we're not here because we're doing an installation. We don't do so many.
An important question here.
Yeah.
From Di.
Ah, okay.
Are these Saturday live sessions finished now as we are no longer going to be in lockdown?
It's a good question. I think if we've got, certainly when we've got classes, which we're planning for the June start, we've got some of them on Saturdays, so we ain't going to be doing it. So yeah, they'll perhaps be a little bit less often. But we'll do them.
Our intention is still to continue with them, but because we're coming out of lockdown, there are certain other things that might get in the way. But generally we will try and continue them for the time being.
I've got it scheduled, but it's, it could be more of an issue. Say somebody wants to come for a demo and they can only come on a Saturday morning, then it makes it a bit more tricky. But we'll put them as events. And I think the key thing for me is to do it slightly differently, that I'll just put it as an event on Facebook a week ahead so that everybody knows. And obviously there'll be email reminders as well, which I do tend to send out just the day before. Okay. Any other questions?
Sue Such just says yippee. Now, I don't know if she's saying yippee because it's Margaret's birthday today or for some other reason, but well, she's just happy. We're happy that you're happy.
We are genuinely happy, Sue, that you're happy. And it's been, as always, just lovely to think of all of those friends. Many of you are friends around the world that have tuned in today. I say tuned in. Old style, but it's great to have this Facebook Live, to be able to connect with everybody. You know, it's the way of the modern world that this is how we communicate, and it's been a really a fantastic innovation for us and a way of connecting with all of our customers, potential customers, and anybody who's got questions can ask them here live. Yep.
So Sue says no, she's happy that there are going to be more live sessions, and in Ireland says please continue with the classes. I have learned so much.
Oh, good. Well, that's great news, and we've got more as well. The other thing to remember is YouTube. There's a lot of content on YouTube. We're uploading stuff all the time on YouTube, and if you want to subscribe to our YouTube channel, I need to get to 1,000 on YouTube. So help me make 1,000 because things change. YouTube has this thing that it becomes easier to do more things when you get to 1,000. I think we've got under 600 at the moment. So every vote counts. So please do subscribe to us on YouTube. We'll provide some even more interesting content for you as times progress. This Facebook Live will be on YouTube for those of you who are watching it on catch up. You might be watching on YouTube, so hello on YouTube. All right, I think that's everything. Pete, have you got anything else to say?
No, I think we're done. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for joining us. It's lovely to see you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
See you next week.
All right, bye now.